Hey friends, I'm really excited today because I get to talk to you about interviewing. Now, it might be a strange thing to absolutely love, but I love interviewing. I love going to interviews and I love interviewing candidates. So this is a subject I'm really passionate about. There are a bunch of questions that you may be asked during an interview about yourself personally, professionally, about how you perceive the position you're applying for or the company that you will hopefully work for. So we're gonna dive right in and make sure you stay tuned to the end where I'm gonna share the most important question for you to ask your interviewer. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. You may not always know how to prepare for an interview, but there are definitely a few different ways that you can get ready for one. So I'm here to help you and tell you what some possible questions are that you may be asked. This is part one of a multi-part video. Today we're going to talk about questions that you should be prepared to answer about you personally. I've created a blog post with all these questions. The link is in the description below. Go ahead and click on that. You can follow along, or you can go to that after and make sure that you write down your own answers to those questions. The first group of questions are about you personally. So one question you should definitely have an answer to. It's not really a question, it's more of a statement, but it's the phrase, "Tell me about yourself." When you're sharing information about yourself, you want to make sure that it's short and to the point, but extremely informative. Create an elevator pitch. A couple of sentences that really share your past work history and a little bit about yourself. So for example, I might say something like this: I am a go-getter who's very focused on continuous improvement in the workplace. I always have a bunch of ideas, and I love sharing those ideas with my colleagues and my boss. I understand that not all of these ideas can always come to fruition, but it doesn't stop me from still being excited about them. I love working with people. I love working with clients and working with coworkers. I'm really great at working as a team or individually. I'm passionate about leading people. I've worked on some really big projects that I've been really proud of. And to this day, because I was able to successfully execute those projects, I know that I'm capable of anything. And I love a challenge. Come up with 2 to 3 sentences that are good for you. Make sure they're about you, make sure they're accurate, make sure they're true, and have fun with it. So the second question that you should be prepared to answer in an interview: where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now this can be a tough question because if you're applying for a job, you may have a very clear understanding of what your career goals are, and that might be the reason you're going for this job. But at the same time, we're in the midst of a pandemic, so you may be unemployed and you may just need a job. You may not necessarily know what your goals are for your career. That's okay. There's a specific reason why I put this under the category of questions about you personally. Your answer to this question should have elements of your goals in a career, but your answer could also contain your goals for your life. If you're somebody who's driven by family, tell them that. Let them know my goal is to provide for my family, doing a job that I love, so that when I leave for work every day, I'm excited. But when I leave work every day, I'm also looking forward to spending time with my family. That might be a good answer for a 9-to-5 job. If you do want your answer to be more career focused, then share what your goals are. Let them know that you've always wanted to work for this company and that your goal is to move up in the company, get to know the brand, gain an understanding of the culture there, and that you're really excited about that. If you're not too sure what your answer should be, look at your personal goals in your life. Question number 3, what would you consider to be your greatest weakness? This is the absolute worst question for some people, so I'm gonna help you answer it. First, I want you to write down a list of your best strengths. This is gonna help you, I swear. Then, write down a list of your biggest weaknesses. Do a cross comparison and find one that matches. So for example, I may write down that my biggest strength is that I'm empathetic. I may also write down that my biggest weakness is that I care too much what other people think. This is a weakness because I try to please everybody, and as a manager, you can't always do that. But I can then flip it around as a strength and let them know that because I care so much, people find me approachable and they can come to me with any issues they may have. They may not always like my resolution, but they do feel like they can come to me with things. So do that exercise Let me know how it goes in the comments below, and let's get on to the next question. Question number 4 that you will be asked about yourself in an interview. Tell me about a time you failed. What did you do? A lot of times, if you look back at your life and career history, you'll notice that some of your most successful moments came from failures. You'll notice that some of your most successful moments came from failures. So try to think of the things you're most proud of in your work history or your life, and then look back at the steps that led up to that moment. You may find that there are a bunch of failures. And it'll be a great way to describe to your interviewer how success was able to come out of those failures. And I'm curious what some of yours were, so leave them in the comments below so I can check them out. Question number 5. Name a time you felt passionate about something that others didn't agree with. What did you do? This question was always pretty tough for me because I used to be somebody who didn't like to rock the boat. So if I was passionate about something and it got shot down, I would just be like, okay, whatever. But now things have changed and I definitely feel a fiery passion for certain things. I am somebody who loves coming up with ideas. I'm always looking towards continuous improvement in the workplace. So I want to find the most efficient method to do something. I want to make sure that we're doing things the smartest way. We're working smarter, not harder. And this can come with some conflict because a lot of times to work smarter, you kind of have to pour some money into it. So it's not always an option to improve systems. If this happens, I may try to find an alternate method that we can do that would be smarter, or I may just have to end up accepting that there's nothing we can do about it now, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to do something. So I'll write it down and we can always revisit it in the future. Now come up with something that you're passionate about in the workplace or in your life in general and what you did with it if somebody didn't agree. Okay, so you made it to the end of this video, which means you get your bonus question. This question isn't a question you will be asked, but it's a question you should ask your interviewer. Now let me tell you right now, interviewers love when you ask them questions because it means that you're thinking for yourself, you're thinking about the company, and you're thinking about your future. So here's your bonus question. Is there room for advancement? This is a great question because it shows that you're looking towards your future. So that question of where do you want to be 5 years from now is partially answered by you asking them this question. You'll get an answer if you actually can advance in the position that you're applying for, or if you can't. And that might even make your decision easier. Because remember, when you're going into an interview, you are interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. Yes, you may need the job. Yes, you may need money, but you also need to make sure it's a good fit for you mentally and just as a person in general. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to get more notifications. See you in the next video. So